I truly believe that a prime Hollywood Hogan would have been an afterthought in All Elite Wrestling. Smash the like button if you think that a prime Hogan would have gotten beaten by John Moxley in All Elite Wrestling.
So, what do I think about the Hurt Business in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling so far? The number one thing that I've noticed was Shelton Benjamin. It seems like he is getting a bigger push than Bobby Lashley. I feel like that is very concerning, especially the fact that Bobby Lashley is now a tag team champion. Now, in hindsight, that does not feel right. Bobby Lashley is not a tag team wrestler. I feel like you are wasting Bobby's talents in the tag team division, because when will they lose those tag team titles? People don't talk about that. So how long will Bobby Lashley be in the tag team division? From a visual perspective, Shelton Benjamin has been more impressive than Bobby Lashley, and I blame Tony Khan for that. Yes, this is concerning. The fact that Shelton Benjamin is smaller than Bobby Lashley. You should be concerned about that. Bobby Lashley has not been impressive in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. It has been Shelton Benjamin. Shelton has had more matches than Bobby Lashley. What does that tell you? Bobby is a prize fighter. He should not be fighting for tag team titles. That's like putting Brock Lesnar in the tag team division. There's a reason why TNA and Vince McMahon, they never made Bobby a tag team wrestler, because he's a main eventer. There's people that are not trying to make a big deal out of this with Bobby Lashley as a tag team fake pro wrestler. You should make a big deal out of it. This is Tony Khan we are talking about. You can't trust him. He's the worst booker of all time. Do you think that Bobby will be a main eventer? Yes and no. Do I think he will be a world champion? No, I don't think so. I will be shocked if Bobby Lashley becomes a world champion. Will it happen? I will not bet on it. I will bet on he might be a TNT champion. I will bet on that. There's no guarantee that Bobby Lashley is going to be booked like a main eventer. He's a tag team champion. What does that tell you? He should be in the main event scene, fighting against the Death Rider BBC Club, based on the crowd loves the Hurt Business, and they are over. They don't get booed, so you might as well turn those guys into good guys. They are not heels. So that being said, they should go against the Death Rider BBC Club, because I don't think Edge is going to beat Dean Ambrose for the world title. So why not book Bobby and his crew against the Death Rider BBC Club? But I don't trust Tony Khan to do it. This is false hope. Making the Hurt Business tag team champions. This is false hope. He is fooling you. He was better off just adding Ricochet to the Hurt Business. Let Shelton and Ricochet chase after the tag team championships. There's a reason why Bobby Lashley was not a tag team champion in the Hurt Business. So why is he a tag team champion right now? Hell, it should be MVP and Shelton as tag team champions, not Bobby fucking Lashley. He is fooling you. He was better off just adding Ricochet to the Hurt Business. Let Shelton and Ricochet chase after the tag team championships. There's a reason why Bobby Lashley was not a tag team champion in the Hurt Business. So why is he a tag team champion right now? Hell, it should be MVP and Shelton as tag team champions, not Bobby fucking Lashley. There's no guarantee that Bobby Lashley will be booked like a main eventer, like Edge, like Dean Ambrose, like Max, like Will Ospreay. There's no guarantee. The fact of the matter is, nobody asked Tony Khan to make Bobby Lashley a tag team champion. That's my point. He is not a tag team wrestler. You see, that's how Tony Khan man books big guys. He books them as tag team guys, middle of the pack guys in the mid card. That's how he books big guys. Just look at Big Cass, former tag team champion with Ricky Starks. He books big guys like Bodyguard, Musclehead, Muscles. That's how he books them. So that adds on to my list of all the legends who I feel like if they were in their primes, they would have been jobbers in All Elite Wrestling. So, number one, Diesel, aka Kevin Nash. I feel like Kevin Nash would have been a job guy in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. Look at Big Cass, What is the difference between Big Cass and Kevin Nash? There's no difference. You see, Shawn Michaels, he was the one who put Kevin Nash on the map. He said one day he was watching WCW, and he said that he watched Diesel wrestle. He said to himself, you know what? I want that guy to be my bodyguard. So Vince McMahon signed him. But Vince McMahon, he ended up liking Kevin Nash, and he gave Diesel a mega push because Diesel had a great look. I don't care about his drawing power. Diesel was a bigger draw than everybody currently in All Elite Wrestling. That's facts. Look it up. Diesel would have been a jobber on Dynamite, Collision, Rampage. He would have been exactly like Big Cass. I think Kevin Nash would have been in the learning tree. Kevin Nash would have been in the Don Callis family doing nothing. He would have been a dumb jock putting over Will Ospreay, putting over Daniel Bryan, guys like that. He would have been a job guy in the Don Callis family, exactly like Lance Archer. So, who is second on my list? It is Big Show, Paul White, the Giant. The Giant, he would have been a jobber in All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. If you book Hook against a prime Giant, a prime Big Show would have lost maybe 9 times out of 10. He would have gotten choked out, and he would have gotten body slammed by Hook. Let that sink in. You see, Tony Khan really hates big men. I think it's because he was never a fan of big guys when he was a child. That's what I think. I think he was a fan of the cruiserweight division. That's what I think. He was never a fan of Stone Cold, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, Triple H, Goldberg. He was never a fan of those kind of wrestlers. Just like Daniel Bryan. Fun fact, Daniel Bryan said that he was never a fan of Rocky Maivia. He said he was a fan of Dean Malenko over Rocky Maivia. So Daniel Bryan was perfect for All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. That's why Tony Khan, man, respects Daniel Bryan so much, because they are the same guy. So let's talk about a prime Big Show, a prime Giant. The Giant became a world champion in WCW, but there's no way in hell that the Giant would have became a world champion in All Elite Wrestling. Hell no. He's too tall and he's too big. Most likely, Stokely Hathaway would have been the Giant's manager. That's who the Giant would have been in All Elite Wrestling. He would have been a jobber and an afterthought. Maybe he would have been in Ring of Honor doing nothing. So, the next guy on my list, it is Dave Batista. Dave Batista, man, he would have been a jobber enhancement talent. He would have been Brian Cage. Facts. Dave Batista, he would have been Brian Cage. He would have been in multiple factions doing nothing as the bodyguard for Swerve Scott, fucking Don Callis, Taz, etc. He would have been the dumb jock bodyguard if he was in All Elite Wrestling. Because the one guy that saved his career, it was Triple H. It was not Vince McMahon. I heard that Dave was close to being fired until Triple H gave him a chance. So just imagine if he was in All Elite Wrestling without Triple H as his saving grace. He would have been like Powerhouse Hobbs and Brian Cage. He would have been in the Don Callis family as the dumb jock bodyguard who takes bumps, who loses to Will Ospreay, Omega, guys like that. He would have been the job guy, enhancement talent to further storylines with the Don Callis family. Okay, let's put over Hook. Okay, let's have him beat Dave Batista in 5 minutes on Dynamite. That would have been him. So, who's next on my list? It is Kane. Kane would have been in the Dark Order, or he would have been in the House of BBC with Malachi Black doing nothing. Kane would have had an awful career in All Elite Wrestling. Most likely, Kane would have been with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. He would have been in that group as the dumb jock bodyguard. I think that Danny Garcia, he would have beaten Kane one-on-one on Collision. And I dare you to tell me I'm lying. Danny Garcia, he would have beaten Kane on Collision. A prime Kane. I guarantee you that. Either him, Darby Allin, fucking Sammy G, guys like that, they would have squashed Kane in 5 minutes on Collision. Who's next on my list? It is Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid, he would have been Big Cass. He would have been in the learning tree. Or they would have gave him a manager. Maybe a Stokely Hathaway, guys like that. Or Psycho Sid would have been in the Jericho Appreciation Society, just like Jack Swagger. Psycho Sid, he would have been in multiple factions as the dumb jock bodyguard who takes bumps and who gets beaten by small men to further storylines. That's how Psycho Sid would have been booked. That's how Lance Archer is booked. That's how Big Cass, Brian Cage is booked. That's how Powerhouse Hobbs is booked. That's how all big men are booked in all elite fake pro wrestling. They are booked to put over the small man. Psycho Sid would have been a waste of talent in all elite fake pro wrestling. Just like Big Cass, just like many other big men who have talent. His promo skills would have gone to waste in all elite wrestling. And what makes it worse is Psycho Sid was not great in the ring. So just imagine if he was in all elite wrestling under the booking of Tony Khan, who loves work rate guys. He would have made an example out of Psycho Sid. So who's next on my list? It is Bill Goldberg. Just look at Wardlow. Just look at Wardlow. If you want a preview on how a prime Bill Goldberg would have done in all elite fake pro wrestling, just look at Wardlow. Where's he at? Goldberg would have been in the Undisputed Kingdom as a job guy. He would have been the muscle for MJF. I guarantee you that. Goldberg would have been a bodyguard in all elite fake pro wrestling, just like Wardlow. The legend of Bill Goldberg, it would have never existed in all elite fake pro wrestling. We would have said, Bill Goldberg, please go to the World Wrestling Federation. You are booked like shit in all elite wrestling, just like Wardlow. There's no difference between Wardlow and Goldberg. So my next pick is Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. Scott Hall would have been in the Death Rider BBC Club, just like Claudio. That's what I think. Scott Hall would have been a dumb jock bodyguard in the Death Rider BBC Club, putting over Dean Ambrose. That's how Con Man would have booked a prime young Scott Hall. He would have been a wasted talent in all elite wrestling. Tony Khan would have made Scott Hall a bland, wannabe tough guy in the Death Rider BBC Club. I truly believe that. Con Man would have booked Scott Hall like shit. He would have been on Rampage, Collision, getting beaten by small men. We all know that. I think Commander would have beaten Scott Hall. Guys like that. I think Danny Garcia would have beaten Scott Hall clean. That's what I think. He would have been a dumb jock bodyguard for Christian Cage and the Young Bucks. That's what I think. Scott Hall would have been a jobber enhancement talent doing nothing in all elite wrestling. So the next guy on my list, it is Abyss. Abyss from TNA. TNA was the only company that I can envision giving Abyss a push, but not in AEW. Hell no. Abyss would have been in the Dark Order with Evil Uno. That's where Abyss would have been. Let me tell you about the upside of Abyss in all elite wrestling. He would have been exactly like the great Mortos on Collision. Darby Allin would beat Abyss on Collision, Rampage, Dynamite, it don't matter. Abyss would have lost to Darby Allin. Who's the next guy on my list? It is The Undertaker. He would have been exactly like Luke Harper. He would have been exactly like Brody Lee. Taker would be the leader of the Dark Order. Tell me I'm lying. He would have the same booking, the same treatment, just like Luke Harper. Because Tony Khan doesn't know how to book spooky, scary characters like a Kane, like Abyss. The Undertaker would have been a TNT champion, nothing more. Especially as a big guy, Tony Khan hates big guys. So just imagine Tony Khan pushing a big guy who has a spooky, scary character. Let's be real. Adam Page would have beaten The Undertaker in all elite wrestling. The last guy on my list, it is Yokozuna. Yokozuna would have been a jobber in All Elite Wrestling. He would have been in Ring of Honor. Let's be real. Yokozuna wouldn't be on Dynamite Collision Rampage. He would have been a mainstay in Ring of Honor. So Yokozuna was tall and he was overweight. So man, he has 2 strikes and he could not talk. He had to have a manager. So that's 3 strikes. Most likely, Sammy G and Commander would have beaten Yokozuna in Ring of Honor. Yes, I'm saying that Yokozuna would not be on Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision. I'm saying Yoko would have been in Ring of Honor.